Yo, what is up, guys? It is your favorite Crow here, and welcome to our second part of the cartoon tournament of power. Here we have Nickelodeon versus Cartoon Network. If you weren't here for the last episode, I definitely recommend watching that. That was the Nickelodeon section of this, and so if you're looking at it now, you probably don't get what's going on. But anyways, we've weaved our way through the Nickelodeon bracket. We had some heartbreak, we had some confusion, we had some literally not knowing what any of these shows are all about. Well, not any of them, but some of these shows we didn't know anything about. I didn't know anything about. But our winner ended up being Avatar: The Last Airbender. Kind of a given for me. I kind of saw that from the beginning, but it was fun actually doing this because there were some decisions that I made that I wasn't 100% like, how do I explain it? That I didn't expect beforehand. So this bracket should be interesting. I was much more of a Cartoon Network kid, so this is definitely gonna be rough, to say the least. So let's jump right into this. With round one, we have Teen Titans versus Samurai Jack. Now, Samurai Jack is such a cool series. So cool that, like, didn't it go on hiatus for a bit? It was really good. I think that was on Adult Swim as well. But it was a really cool action samurai series that went on for a long time, and then it kind of stopped. But it was one of these few series that actually came back as the same. Some of these were remade, but they were remade pretty badly. I'm talking to you, Teen Titans. I mean, I'll give it its credit later on once you get to Teen Titans, but Samurai Jack. So basically what I'm trying to say is, if you were an OG Cartoon Network kid, you know exactly what Samurai Jack is. No need for introductions, but for the people that don't know, I just went over it a bit. It's the samurai, or I'll just go over it a bit. It's the samurai that's basically fighting against this demon named Aku, and there's a bunch of really cool action scenes. Really dope show. If you didn't see it, you're missing out, man. Especially the reiteration that came out not too long ago. And then we have Teen Titans. Teen Titans and Samurai Jack, I feel like this is a really good placement for them, because these two are both arguably the best action shows to come out of Cartoon Network. They both got reiterations. The only difference is Samurai Jack came back the same. Teen Titans came back as Teen Titans Go, which was directed more towards comedy than actual like action. But we're not talking about those. We're talking about the original Teen Titans and Samurai Jack. So the original Teen Titans was so cool. Beast Boy, Robin, Starfire, Raven, Cyborg, all iconic characters. If you were an OG Cartoon Network kid, you'd know about this show as well. And so you know how hard it is putting these two against each other. I don't know. I really don't know. It was really tough. Teen Titans, I'd have to give it to Teen Titans. Simply because it related more to me personally. I enjoyed watching Samurai Jack, but it's called Teen Titans. These are teenage kids with crime fighting powers. It's just like, I don't know, it's more relatable. I actually watched all of the Teen Titans series, whereas Samurai Jack, I kind of just watched it whenever it came on. So simply because of that, I'm gonna have to give it to Teen Titans. I'm just gonna put TT. Can I fit it all? I won't try. I'm just gonna put TT. Alright, let's move that towards the middle. So round one between Teen Titans and Samurai Jack, already a really tough bracket. Teen Titan takes the cake. Next we have Dexter's Laboratory and the Powerpuff Girls. Now personally, I wasn't a big fan of Dexter's Laboratory. I'm just gonna get that right out there. Was not a big fan of Dexter's Laboratory. DDD was so annoying. Oh my god, she's probably the worst sister you could ever have in your life. You're just over here minding your own business, you know, cooking up some trouble in the lab, and then here comes Dee Dee. I almost said DDD. here comes Dee Dee barging through the door, getting all up in your business, messing up all your mojo, and I just, she was really, really annoying. Then there's the Powerpuff Girls. Sugar, spice, and everything nice. Who doesn't know what this show is? This show is, funny enough, it was a really big part of my childhood because I watched it so much, and I was kind of embarrassed to tell anyone because it's Powerpuff Girls, not Powerpuff Guys. So I thought it was a show for girls, even though it was so cool to watch. I kind of, just kept it under wraps. But simply because I didn't like Dexter's Laboratory too much, I'm gonna have to give it to Powerpuff Girls. And also, what was it? What was I going to say? Dexter's Laboratory. It's one of the older shows that were on Cartoon Network, so it has some history behind it. And Powerpuff Girls as well. I think both of these were on Boomerang as well. But I'm gonna have to give it to Powerpuff Girls. PPG. Give it to Powerpuff Girls because there's nothing cooler than a couple of Powerpuff Girls. I don't know where I was going with that. But actually, hold on, before I go further down this bracket, because I was just scrolling through, I forgot to list everything in the beginning. No, scuffed bracket, boys. Okay, let's see. We have Teen Titans, Samurai Jack, Dexter's Laboratory, the Powerpuff Girls, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Ed, Edd n Eddy, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Chowder, Gumball, Regular Show, Code Lyoko, Ben 10, Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Kids Next Door, Johnny Bravo, and Pokemon. Alright, let's just go into the next bracket. Whatever, we'll do this later. Courage the Cowardly Dog and Ed, Edd n Eddy. Now, this is a weird matchup because Courage the Cowardly Dog is one of those psychological shows. It's kind of a comedy, but not really meant to be a comedy. It's meant to be really weird. If you were a Cartoon Network kid, you know what this show is. You know how weird it is. And, it's probably one of the creepiest shows I ever watched. It was just, the artistry was really creepy. The story, the ambience, everything about the show was really, really just off-putting. So, that's also why it's so memorable. And then there's Ed, Edd n Eddy. It's a comedy. A really, oh my god, such a goofy comedy. A really, really stupid comedy. But how do I even compare these two? Because they just excel in two different areas. For memorability, is that a word? Whichever one is most memorable, I'd have to say it's a tie. So I can't really argue on that. Artistry, I mean, they both convey the message they're trying to get out there pretty well, so can't argue there. Longevity, I think Courage has been around longer. I think Courage was around longer than Ed, Edd n Eddy in the sense that it ended after. No, because Courage was running reruns for quite a while, and Ed, Edd n Eddy wasn't. So I think Courage was a bit more popular than Ed, Edd n Eddy. But everybody knows what Ed, Edd n Eddy is. This is tough. This is a really, really tough choice. Courage the Cowardly Dog versus Ed, Edd n Eddy. If I had to choose one to give it to, I'd choose Courage the Cowardly Dog. Courage? Yeah, I'd give it to Courage the Cowardly Dog just because Ed, Edd n Eddy was disgusting. I don't care what anyone says. Just don't at me. Ed, Edd n Eddy was freaking disgusting with their art and some of the jokes they tried to put out there. It was so disgusting. The people just look nasty. Let me see if I can pull up the cast. They just look nasty. Ed, and Eddy. Look at these guys. They look like a couple of doofuses. See if I can get a bigger picture. Look at this. Oh my god, they look so stupid. So stupid. Oh my god. They look so dumb. Okay, let's get out of here before we scroll into anything inappropriate. Anyways, because you can't trust Google these days. Why did I look there? Because you can't trust Google these days. But yeah, so I'm giving it to Courage just because Ed, Edd n Eddy was friggin' disgusting. Don't at me. Next we have Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends and Chowder. Now Chowder was a really funny show. I really liked it. Chowder is one of the shows that I can still remember funny moments right now with Deadly Maze. If you get that reference, shout out to you. Also the oh man, what was it? Had something to do with a lollipop. I don't remember. Something about a lollipop. And then the sun, when they were like Boy Scouts or something, they were riding down the river, and then there was the like beautiful sun on one side, and then there was like a really rocky, treacherous path on the other side. And he said, "Let's take the other path. I don't trust the look of that sun." And then the son just pulls out a freaking mallet, and he's like, "Darn, I almost had him." Chowder is one of the shows that I can remember really funny moments from. Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, though, that was a really creative idea, actually. Making a home for imaginary friends that were forgotten by the people that imagined them, and making a place for them to go because they become real. They started as imaginary friends, and then they became real through that imagination. And so they make a foster home for them, and then people can come and adopt imaginary friends. That's a really clever idea. Not a lot of people can think of that. But if I had to choose one of these to give it to, let's see, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends had movies. They lasted a lot longer, whereas Chowder, it was kind of a short and sweet series. Personally, Chowder is one of my favorite comedies. As a kid. But I'm gonna have to give it to Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends simply because of 3 words. No, 2 words. 3. Blue and cheese. Done. Don't at me. That's all I need to say. Blue and cheese together were the funniest duo in Cartoon Network history. Easy peasy. Well, at least for the OG TV shows. There are some newer ones though. I don't think we've come across any yet. Nope, all these shows are pretty much OGs. We haven't come across any really new ones. But now we are with our next matchup. Wait, what? I can't read that. The what? The what World of Gumball? The Amazing World of Gumball. That's what it's called. Amazing World of Gumball and regular show. Now, personally, I'm a bit hurt. I feel like you can't have regular show without Adventure Time. They started around the same time. They were just as big. If not, Adventure Time was bigger. But Gumball, oh my god. Gumball is definitely the funniest out of the newer generation of TV shows. All of those that we passed were kind of OG shows. Gumball, regular show, Adventure Time, those I'd say are fairly a part. I'd say they're a part of the newer generation, not the new generation with the cringy shows like Uncle Grandpa and all that garbage, but the recent shows. There's like OG, and then around when I was a teenager, I'd say maybe about 15 or 16, that's when these shows came around, and that's why I'd consider them more new generation. And out of those, Gumball is easily the funniest. Regular show was the most relatable though. Mordecai, I loved Mordecai. Mordecai? I loved Mordecai. He just had such a chill, laid-back personality. Yeah, he could still be goofy, and he reminded me a lot of myself. But out of these two, I'm gonna have to give it to Gumball just because Gumball is freaking hilarious. Trying to stay PG. Freaking hilarious, dude. So let's put Gumball. Gumball wins because its comedy is on another level. I'm sorry, regular show, but Gumball is is easily one of the best comedy shows that are out right now. Next, we have Code Lyoko versus Ben 10. Now, I already know what my answer is. I'm gonna choose Ben 10, and here's why. But also, here's I'm gonna argue for it and argue against it for both of them, since the choice is just so obvious. I have to give some context though. If you don't know what Code Lyoko is, it's basically about these kids that go into this world that's like I don't even remember. They go into this like virtual world where they have their own little powers in that world. One of them like turns into a cheetah, the other one gets a sword, yada yada yada. Basically, in the real world, they're on this mission to stop something, and the only way they can stop it is going into the virtual world. This is a really bad synopsis, by the way. But they go into the virtual world, they defeat the boss or whatever the last enemy is, and then it fixes whatever the problem is in the real world. But one huge argument, and underline underscore highlight the word huge reason why I'm not choosing this is because, let's see, look at the head size. Oh my god, this is disgusting. This is disgusting. Their head size is freaking huge, dude, in proportion to their body. Okay, this wasn't actually from the show. Yeah, this is fandom, so that's why the head sizes are a bit more in line. But look at this. Their heads are freaking huge. Oh my god, look at this. Perfect. This is perfect. Their forehead is so big, you can freaking put a paragraph up there. But anyways, let's go back. So that's a huge reason why I'm not picking Code Lyoko. It was a cool show, I'll give it that, but I'm not picking Code Lyoko because of that. And also arguing for Ben 10, it was a really cool show, really cool idea. Personally, I was really hooked on Ben 10. I watched Ben 10 all the time. I actually got a couple of the video games, even though they weren't that good. They were okay, but if I look back on it now, they weren't that good. The only thing is, Ben 10 was ruined down the line, and I feel like that might hurt it further down the bracket, because Gumball, well, yeah, it's gonna go against Gumball next. I'll get into this later, so I'll hold on to this comment. But it fell off later on with Ben 10 Alien Force. I watched a bit of it, but I wasn't nearly as hooked on that as I was with the original Ben 10. And then we have what was it called? After we had some other Ben 10. There was one when he became like a teenager. There was another where he went back to a kid and it was really cartoony, and there was like this Lego monster. I didn't like it. But I'm gonna give Ben 10 this W because the OG Ben 10 was clean. It was a really cool idea. I really like the original monsters too, with Diamond Head and Forearms. I really like them. But anyways, next we have Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy versus Kids Next Door. This is a tough bracket. This is a very tough bracket. Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy versus Kids Next Door. Now for Billy and Mandy, it's kind of on the same end of Ed, Edd and Eddy, whereas it was really disgusting. It was really disgusting. But I don't know, for some reason Billy and Mandy was more bearable than Ed, Edd and Eddy. Ed, Edd and Eddy was just stupid, even though I do like it. Don't get me wrong, I do like it, but it was just like, it was like really cringy, kind of disgusting. And with Billy and Mandy, it's with Ed, Edd and Eddy, when something disgusting comes on, it's like, Jesus, dude, what the heck were they thinking? But with Billy and Mandy, it's like, oh my god, did they really like, I don't know, there'd be a scene with Billy and there would be snot hanging from his nose, and it'd just be this giant drip of snot, and it's just like, it's disgusting, but the cartoon style is just, it makes up for it. The Ed, Edd and Eddy cartoon style was just, it looked lazy. It's, oh my god. But enough about Ed, Edd and Eddy. Billy and Mandy, it was really funny, a lot of memorable characters. The characters all had their charm to them. I really liked them, And I really like the idea behind it. It was a really cool idea how these kids basically have the Grim Reaper living in their house, and they're just they get tangled up in a bunch of the Grim Reaper's affairs. And it's funny because these kids are just like so weird and crazy and stupid that they're even frightening to the Grim Reaper and to like the Grim Reaper's friends. When they bump into these guys, they're like, oh, what? These guys can't be human. They can't be real people. They have to be like some kind of fucking test tube babies that gone wrong. Test tube babies gone wrong. But anyways, Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. That's pretty much all I have to say for that. For Kids Next Door, now this was another really cool show that was on Cartoon Network, and this is probably the most relatable show because how cool would it be to be a part of a spy organization run by kids like you? Yeah, I know you're probably like Aiden May, by the way. And how cool would it be if you could be in this giant spy organization as a kid? Normally your life is kind of boring as a kid. I mean, you do a few cool things, like you go to the park, have fun, but it's kind of like you go to school every day, you do homework, you come home, play video games just to realize you forgot to do something, and then you miss an assignment, and then you fail. No, I'm kidding. Not everyone goes through that. But I didn't go through that, by the way. It's just for the record. But anyways, and another thing that made it really cool was the fact that it wasn't really too high tech. It was more like just really smart kids using everyday items like ketchup and mustard guns, gumball machine made into a minigun. Like, that stuff is so cool. It kept it from being really violent. It kept it really PG, yet still cool and creative at the same time. So just given that, I'm gonna have to give it to KND. Billy and Mandy, don't get me wrong, this is a really tough decision. Well, not a tough decision, it's a tough bracket, but I'm gonna have to simply just give it to KND because of how creative this show really was. This show was just, it's a revolutionary idea, and they pulled it off really well. Their movies were really good. Billy and Mandy was just a really good comedy, but other than that, I can't really give it too much. So Kids Next Door is going to win this round. Then next, last but not least, we have Johnny Bravo against Pokemon. Why did this one feel so much longer than the last one? But anyways, Johnny Bravo versus Pokemon. Johnny Bravo is one of those shows. This happened more on the Nickelodeon bracket, but it's one of those shows where I came around the tail end. I wasn't really a big fan of Johnny Bravo. It's kind of just like a lady killer that failed. He was pretty much just a lady killer that failed whenever he tried to, you know, pick up chicks. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. But for Pokemon, now this is where it gets a bit weird, because this actually gives me a good idea. I might actually make a video on this later, but just to go over it briefly, I wasn't allowed to watch Pokemon as a kid. Really young as a kid I was, but then once my parents like figured out what it was about, and there's a few other details that went into why I wasn't able to watch it, but basically I wasn't able to watch it, if you didn't get that already. And because of that, I wasn't really there for the cartoon. But don't get me wrong, Pokemon, I love Pokemon right now. Pokemon is probably my, how do I explain it, one of my favorite games of all time. But the TV show I wasn't around for much of, so I can't really give it too much credit. I can give it enough credit to win this round. But, oops, did I forget the P? Okay. Alright. I can give it enough credit to win this round, but I can't, what am I trying to say? Further down the road, if this does get knocked out, I know this is a lot of people's personal favorites, but if it does get knocked out, you guys know why. It's because personally I wasn't able to watch the show when I was a kid. The game, I love the game. I still watch the game now. I'm like 18 and I still watch freaking Showdown lives, playthroughs. I love Pokemon. Don't get me wrong, I love Pokemon, but for the TV show, I can't really argue for it too much. And so, now that we finished the first round, I'm gonna scratch off all the losers. So, Samurai Jack, oh whoops, wrong color. Samurai Jack, I'm sorry. You are a very, very good TV show. You are a very good TV show, but Teen Titans is just a hair better in my opinion. Dexter's Laboratory, yeah, it's kind of a cliche idea, so I'm not too heartbroken with scratching it off. Powerpuff Girls was easily better. Courage the Cowardly Dog and Ed, Edd and Eddy, I already told you why. I'm not gonna go over it again. I already told you why I'm scratching off Ed, Edd and Eddy. Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends and Chowder. Personally, I really like Chowder. Oops, it's a bit too far. I really like Chowder, but Foster's is just such a cool idea. I have to give it to Foster's. Gumball and Regular Show. I love Regular Show. Probably the most relatable out of all of these series would be Regular Show, but I'm giving it to Gumball because its humor is just on another level. Code Lyoko. Okay, all the big head kids out there rooting for Code Lyoko, get out of this video. Just leave now. Leave a like and then leave now, because I am not voting for this show. And then Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy and K&D. Sorry Billy and Mandy, I loved you. I watched you a ton when I was a kid, but I also watched Kid Next Door, and I'm a kid next door. That's I'm sorry. I'm sorry you have to bear through this. I'm sorry you guys have to bear through this terrible commentary. But anyways, Johnny Bravo, get out of here. No one will miss you. If you miss Johnny Bravo, nobody likes you. I'm joking, but yeah. So our finalists are Teen Titans, Powerpuff Girls, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, The Amazing World of Gumball, Ben 10, Codename Kids Next Door, and Pokemon. So let's go into the next round, shall we? So here we have Teen Titans versus Powerpuff Girls. Easily, I'm already going to put Teen Titans right here. You already know... Oops. Let me go back to the right color. Can I? Yeah. You already know why. Teen Titans is just such a good action show. Whereas Powerpuff Girls, it was girly. Which, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, Teen Titans, I liked it more because there were some actual dudes in the show that I could say, like, oh, he's my favorite character. In Powerpuff Girls, I can't go to school and say, oh, my favorite character is Bubbles. Like, you can't do that without getting flamed by all your friends. With Teen Titans Go, you can say, yo, Robin, that boy is clean. That boy is pretty clean. So I'm giving it to Teen Titans. It's, yeah, I don't know. I can't really think of too many people that would argue Powerpuff Girls over Teen Titans. So I'm going to go with Teen Titans, obvious choice. Next, Courage the Cowardly Dog and Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Off the bat, right away, I'm giving it to Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends because Courage the Cowardly Dog is definitely memorable, but I actually liked Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, whereas Courage the Cowardly Dog, it was something I was afraid of as a kid. Whenever it came on, I just watched it because it was on, but it was so creepy. I think we all can agree. Courage the Cowardly Dog was creepy. It was so creepy. And Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends was just really cool. So I'm moving it on to the next round. Next, Gumball versus Ben 10. Easily, I'm going to put Gumball. See, the funniest thing is, for a lot of these shows, I feel like the first round was probably going to be their hardest round. Because they were put against such similar shows. Like Teen Titans and Samurai Jack. Those two are really, they're like neck and neck in their genre. Courage and Ed, Edd and Eddy, they were kind of at the top of their genres. That's what made putting them against each other kind of hard, because it's hard to really compare them on anything. But yeah, so you kind of get the idea. Gumball is going to go over Ben 10 because Ben 10 fell off towards the end. Got really cringy with the really cartoony looking kid, and they kind of tried to milk it for all that it was worth, and it didn't work out. Whereas Gumball, it's just like, I don't understand. I've never, well, At my age now, I've never laughed at a children's show so much when watching Gumball. Like, when watching Gumball, there's some jokes that I can even laugh to now at my age. It's kind of a timeless humor that it has that I really like about the show. And then we have K and D and Pokemon. I'm gonna put K and D. Even if I did watch the Pokemon series, I'd probably put K and D just because it's such a cool show, man. The show is so cool and the creativity is just on another level. I already said that before. But yeah, so our winners for this round are Teen Titans, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Gumball, and K and D. So let's get to the scratching off of the losers. What's it called? Scratching off the scrubs? I think that's what I called it. So, Powerpuff Girls, eliminated. Courage the Cowardly Dog, eliminated. Ben 10, eliminated. And Pokemon is eliminated. Again, I'm sorry, guys. I know it must hurt. I'm a huge Pokemon fan, so I feel you. But I'm not too big on the show. I'm a lot bigger on the game. So, it's just, I gotta do what I gotta do, man. And now, next, we have Teen Titans versus Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Now it's getting a bit tougher. Just a bit tougher, though. I'm still gonna put down Teen Titans. Just because... Oh, man. I keep doing this. Let me highlight and switch. Okay, there we go. So I'm still gonna put Teen Titans because Teen Titans is just a really great show that came out of Cartoon Network. The movie, I didn't even go into the movie. The movie was actually done really well. The Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends movie was really good too. But when I have to weigh them against each other, I'm giving the edge to Teen Titans just because it was so cool. And also another thing I have to mention, or that I kind of mentioned before on the Nickelodeon, I think. No, I mentioned it earlier this episode, was that I watched a lot of anime when I was a kid. And Teen Titans was, like Avatar, another show that was really close to anime. I don't know if it's considered an anime though, but it was really close, so I watched it a ton. It was the closest thing I had to anime really without trying to sneak it. So I am going to give the edge to that over Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Then Gumball versus K and D. Ooh. That's tough. I'm giving it to K and D though. I say this is tough and then I just move on to the next one. But anyways, I'm giving this to K and D because I feel like if I just say anything, it'd be repeating what I already said. But the reason why I'm giving it to K and D over Gumball is because Gumball is a really good comedy. Dang, I'm starting to second guess it now. But K and D was just a huge part of my childhood. Gumball I still like now. It's kind of like the present versus the past. That's kind of what I'm feeling right now with these two shows against each other. Gumball is probably one of my favorite shows right now. Not that I really watch cartoons anyways. But I'd say Gumball is probably my favorite now, and K and D was one of my favorites when I was a kid. You know what? I'm gonna give it to Gumball. I'm sorry, K and D. I'm sorry. I love you. I really do. But I'm gonna give it to Gumball just because it still surprises me the fact that I'm able to still laugh at this show even though I'm like older now. Because a lot of shows, they try to appeal to humor, to the sense of humor of the kids watching their show. But with Gumball, it's like I'm still able to enjoy it right now. If I had to choose one of these to watch right now, I'd probably choose Gumball. Just because I can trust that while I'm watching the show, I can get a couple laughs. Whereas K and D, I'd just be watching it for the nostalgia. So that's why I'm giving it to Gumball. Now let's scratch off the scrubs, shall we? For round one, our winner is Teen Titans. So Foster's Home. Oh my gosh, I need to switch these. Okay. Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, I'm sorry, but you gotta go, my dude. Teen Titans is just too big of an influence in my life. And then Gumball and K and D, I'm sorry, K and D. or a really cool show, a really cool idea, but you're a bit outdated, my friend. I'm sorry. And Gumball just feels a bit more timeless. Now, for the final round for Cartoon Network, we have Teen Titans versus Gumball. Now, looking at the other side of the bracket, we have Avatar, which was the winner of Nickelodeon. Makes sense, I saw it from the beginning. Now, on this side of the bracket, I didn't see Gumball coming this far, actually. I thought that K&D would be here. And I thought that Samurai Jack would have gone farther, but I guess I didn't really think about it going up against Teen Titans. So right now we have Teen Titans versus Gumball. Comedy versus action. If I had to sit down and watch one now, I'd probably watch Teen Titans. But I'd almost just as much want to watch Gumball. It's really close, but I think I'm going to give a slight edge to Teen Titans. Simply because of the anime idea. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. There weren't really many sources to find anime, and Teen Titans was one of the few. Well, not many sources without going to Adult Swim, and Teen Titans was one of the few. So I'm going to have to give it to Teen Titans over Gumball. Congratulations to all of the competitors in this tournament that made it as far as they did. A few of them I would like to apologize to for getting knocked out so early, but for many of you, I don't care. Hey Arnold, good. Stay back there. I am glad you did not make it anywhere. I'm sorry to anyone that, I'm not sorry to anyone that likes Hey Arnold. That show was trash. All Grown Up, trash. I'm sorry, Invader Zim. But yeah, you get the point. There was some heartbreak, there were some obvious picks, but now we have ended. I just named it Titan. Whatever, you get the point. So now we have Avatar versus Teen Titans. And, I think I'm going to save this for another episode. No. Why not do it now? Shouldn't take too long.